Hello, this is going to be the first video in a series of videos about asset preparation for AirPig. And I'm making these in anticipation of moving into the private alpha phase soon. And so there will be users who are not me using the engine. And I want to give people kind of an idea of how to take existing content packs that you can get from sites like itch.io, or if you're working with an artist, or if you are an artist, how to adapt art to work with the AirPig engine. So we're going to create a new project, and we're going to start with showing how to make a new biome, which is really about the first place to start in a new project because that's how you will create maps. So I'm going to choose a different folder. I'm going to go just make this on the desktop. And we're just going to call this asset demo. Why not? So this is going to create this on my desktop. I'll hit confirm. It's created some directories. And now I can go edit, and it'll ask me if I want to edit the project I just created. So we'll be starting with a completely empty project, no rigs, no anything. And the first thing we really want to do is be able to create a biome, because we need that to make our first map. And so I just bought this really cool bundle from an artist named Franuka. I'm sorry if you watch this and I have butchered the pronunciation of your name. We are going to take one of the biomes from here. I have not downloaded a single asset from this, so you all are all seeing this completely in real time. Go download. Some of this I'm going to do off screen. I don't necessarily want to show my entire file system, but all I'm doing right now is extracting this folder and putting it somewhere useful. (1,363 items. That's just in one pack. That's a lot of art. Okay, so I have downloaded this file. There's 1x, 2x, and 3x. I'm guessing we probably want to look at 1x, and we want to look at the tile sets and kind of see what we've got. We've got a whole bunch of different things. I'm going to turn on view large icons. Okay, so these are all individual assets. These aren't what we are looking for. Coastlines is getting closer to what we want. Dirt is actually very much what we want. Grass, we've got some trees, roads, and these are kind of different sizes. This is a, okay, so I've got Sprite open here, so we're going to start pulling in some of these assets. 80 by 48. We'll see what size these are. AirPig right now is designed for 16 pixel tiles, and that's what this is, so that's perfect. That's a different variant of dirt. Looking for their kind of wall tiles, and maybe that's really what this is. I think this is probably what we want. So let's go ahead and, oh, we got some waterfalls. There's a lot of cool stuff to look at here. Let's look at that. We'll also grab this other dirt tile. These monster and animals. Yeah, so that's probably what we want. Just want to look at this, some of these other things too, because we'll be using those. Oh yeah, cool. So we've got a lot of stuff to work with here. Okay, let's get started. So we've got dirt, we've got coastlines. It looks like these are all exactly the pixel sizes that we need. We've got roads. Probably will only end up using dirt and coastlines. So let's talk about what a biome is in AirPig. All it is a precise layout of tiles. And AirPig works, I'll turn off these for now. So this is like the tops of floors and the front. So this would be like that, the coastline. So this is basically this right here. And then this is the inner corners. And I think this will work. We don't need this middle tile, or we will organize it a little bit differently. And it looks like these two tiles are identical as they should be if this is done correctly. So this will be our floors, and then walls are your blocking terrain basically. And I think for those we'll be using this right here. Now we do have one problem in that this is designed for 3 tile height walls and AirPig is designed for 2. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we can make it work. And then this will be our path. So let's go ahead and start grabbing this stuff. So we're gonna copy that. This is our biome template, and I'll turn these back on so we can precisely order stuff. You'll see a lot of empty space in that. I have more features planned for biomes, but for now this is how we create them. Hitting Shift N to create a new layer, and we're going to call this demo dirt. Paste this into our new layer, and it actually this works a little different because this is baking in. Well, this will work. Let's just try it like this. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to extract this watercolor and make it its own tile, because that's going to be the background of everything. So the background of everything is water for this tile set. And I just selected that color and pressed F to fill. And then we also want it to be the background of everything in our main floor layer. And so we'll fill that as well. And we'll grab this and then move it over, and it's going to align just like that. Then we want this next section for our inner corners. And if you look at how they built this, this tile is actually identical to that tile. So we don't need these. Those are duplicates, and we don't need these. All we need is the corners. Now we're going to grab these corners and pack them together like this. And this is going to be our inner corners. And we can actually go ahead and save this file out. I think it's Control-Shift-E to export. Nope. Export as Control-Alt-Shift. Oh, export spreadsheet. We're going to do export as, I guess. And we'll navigate to our folder we just created, which is on the desktop. And it's called Asset Demo. And we're going to put this in the Biomes folder. And we're going to call this Biome Dirt. And we want to export that. And now in AirPig, if I go rescan assets, that's going to look for any new biomes, and we should be able to create a new map. And you can see it's already filled with our background color. Let's turn on the grid so we can see what's going on. And I should be able to draw floor type tiles, and it should just work. And there we go. So we already have that working. The inner corners, so here's the inner corner tiles, here's the outer corner tiles, and then the wall faces. So that is working. I think the walls are going to be a little bit more challenging because these are designed for a little bit different height. So, you know, we also could use this for a little bit taller terrain, actually. I think that's going to look a little cooler. So those are one height walls, and these are actually, I think this is just going to work. Let's leave that and not redo it because we're already where we need to be. I'm just going to grab all of the rest of this and we'll paste it into our biome template because I think it's actually maybe the same. Yeah, so it's laid out a little bit different. But our walls, these walls are going to be over grass. And so we actually want to, we're going to fill this with the grass color. Because that is what our walls are going to go. Our walls are going to extend up from the grass, not from the water. So we'll fill it with that. And then we can grab this. And actually, we don't want, oops, this stuff here. And we'll just, because we want this to be grass bordering. So we're going to grab this color here and use this as our grass, and we'll grab this color. I think that might be what's already used for those pixels. Okay, so now we have reformatted our walls a little bit. And then we can take this out. We don't need those. We don't need these. And then the final thing we need is paths. Let's go ahead and test this. Control-Alt-Shift-E, I think it was. It didn't seem to work. Export as. Oh, Control-Alt-Shift-S. That should be the same thing. Yes, we want to overwrite. We'll rescan assets. Now, actually, this isn't going to work because we've loaded this texture into memory. And I currently do not dump and reload textures. So actually, I'm going to have to close and restart AirPig, which is a little bit annoying. But I'll be fixing that feature soon. I'm actually building this from source right now. That way, if I do have crashes while showing you all this, I can log what they are and diagnose them. So this will fully reset. When I unloaded this, it dumped those textures from memory. So now we should have accurate wall textures. And well, there's another bug. I can't actually. That was a weird bug. Now it's not reproing. Something to look into. Okay, let's see if our walls work. And those work. They look correct. I don't love how square the edges are, but that could easily be fixed by adding a little bit of grass border around here too. I mean, we're using this for a little bit different purpose than it was intended for. The other thing that's going to be a little interesting with this is the way I designed biomes to work. The wall tops, so if we look here, this space should be fully walkable. The way this particular art is designed is probably your walkable area should end at this tile. You probably should not be able to walk into this. You could work around that in AirPig by creating like collision around this. That's a little bit annoying. I think it would be better if you were working on this to actually shift the pixels on this a little bit such that the edges of this grass were right at the edges of this tile as much as possible, and that would make the collision work out the way it's supposed to. But it might be fine. We'll see how that works. The final thing we need to do are paths. So we already basically have that, and that's just a decoration texture, I think. So I think this is actually everything we need right here. Copy that, bring it over to our biome template, and this goes right there. And this goes right here. And Control-Shift-S to export. We do want to overwrite. I don't want to dismiss that because I like it warning me every time. Unfortunately, I do have to dump this again just because we changed a texture that is already loaded into memory. So that's actually, the bits are on the graphics card. So I basically just need to make a feature that I can completely dump and reload a texture on demand. Okay, so we should now have everything. The only thing we're missing is paths. Let's go ahead and add some more floors here so we have some more stuff to work with. And look at that. Paths must be too wide. So, but you can, depending on how your tile set is designed, you can kind of make diagonal paths like that. This one's designed to be pretty squared edges, so that you kind of need to go in more straight lines. But you can design around that in some different ways. Anyway, we took a piece of art from Itch and we turned it into a biome that we can start making maps. And just like I demonstrated in one of the previous map videos, we automatically get nav mesh on all the walkable areas. We automatically get collision. Again, the collision on this is going to be a little bit weird. The character will be able to walk all the way up to this wall. But that's a fixable thing through either custom collision shapes, or you could alter this texture a little bit to shift the walls down a little bit so that these non-colliding tiles were fully grass, or at least mostly grass. Anyway, that is how to create a biome, how to actually edit the assets, and as soon as you save it into that biomes folder on disk, which is here. So when you create a project, it'll create all these. We're saving that file right here. The rest of all these other tiles are ignored. And so those don't do anything. I'm just saving over the template. Eventually, I will probably be using some of these tiles in the engine for like variety and creating variants automatically and stuff. But for now, they're just empty. So it doesn't matter that we've left noise in there. And we have modified a tile set. I want to make some future videos because this tile set has a lot of really cool stuff like interiors. Let's see, can I just jump to the store page here? I don't know how to jump to the store page. If you go look at this artist, actually here's a little preview. There's a bunch of like cool interior buildings. There's a bunch of assets. So I do want to make some more videos with some of these tiles and just show how to take one of these like super cool assets from Itch and very quickly be able to have working game content in AirPig with it. So thank you for watching.